friend of mine, Matt P, and long-time listener, sent me a link to a website where a guy had written a pretty good post about why he doesn't believe in pound cost averaging. Now, this guy's arguments, not Matt, the link that he sent me to, the arguments were mathematically perfectly sound. But more than ever, I'm convinced that financial success is less about maths and more about human behavior. So let's explore that a little bit today. Welcome back to another 5 Minute Friday. Great to have you with me. Human behavior is a fascinating subject. We're never going to deal with it in 5 minutes, but let's put 5 minutes on the clock down here. Say a quick thank you to my friends at 7 Investment Management down here for continuing to sponsor Meaningful Money, and let's crack on. So, pound cost averaging, that's the process of dripping money into the markets over time. And it makes sense in so many ways. The idea is that as markets rise and fall, and you drip money in as the markets are rising and falling, you buy units or shares, whatever it is you're buying, at different prices along the way. And in so doing, you smooth out the ups and downs of the stock market simply by buying at different prices. When market is down, you will buy more shares. When the market is up, the ones you bought at the bottom will be worth more, but the ones that you now buy towards the top of the market, you will buy fewer of them. And that whole thing adds a smoothing effect to your investing. Now, the article that Matt pointed me to correctly says that by engaging in pound cost averaging, you are betting that the market will fall. Because if you knew the market was going to rise, you would put all your money in on day one. Now, according to the stats on the article, which I haven't checked, there is about a 23% chance in any 1 year of the market falling over the course of that year. And of course, that means that there's a 77% chance of the market rising in that year. So, 75% chance of the market going up, you would invest at the beginning of the year, wouldn't you? Of course you would. Those are pretty good odds. But this isn't about maths. This is about human behavior. And this is a subject that's fascinated me for ages now, and really I'm still just scratching the surface. As I said, we've no way of dealing with this adequately in 5 minutes or even 50 minutes or 500 minutes. So let's just mention just a couple of things which I think prove the point. Firstly, people don't understand odds. Well, they might in an abstract sense, but not enough to appropriate it to real-life financial decisions very often, and certainly not when their future is on the line. So, for example, apparently 70% of adults in the UK play the national lottery regularly. That's about 40 million people. Now, the odds of winning the lottery, winning the main jackpot, are about 45 million to 1. To put that in context, according to the British Medical Journal, the odds of being struck by lightning here in the UK are about 10 million to 1. 45 million to 1 to win the lottery, 10 million to 1 to be struck by lightning. So people are putting money into a system every single week where the odds of them actually winning the big one are significantly less likely than being struck by lightning, something which most of us at least go through life hoping to avoid. So the lottery really is just a tax on people who don't understand probabilities. So why do people play? Because it fuels their dreams. They can get excited about what might be made possible by a big financial sum landing in their lap. It fuels their dreams because they are human. And the same goes for investing regularly rather than dumping a large amount of money into the market in one go. It's human, for which read flawed emotions and illogic, which makes that seem like the better option. So people don't understand odds for the most part, at least not practically speaking. The other thing which I think illustrates this point is that money is not an abstract concept. Generally speaking, nobody gets excited about zeros on a bank balance. Well, some people might, but for the most part, it's what those zeros make possible that is really exciting. Wealth brings freedom and choice, and that animates people. What might be possible as a result of this money? So when it comes to investing, people won't think about a 10% loss or a 20% loss. Percentages are abstract. They will think in pounds and pence and what they might have to give up if they lose those pounds and pence. What impact might that have on their future lifestyle? What might they not be able to do? The emotions around that lead them to make seemingly illogical decisions. And the third thing I think we need to remember is that we like to impose ourself and our humanity on stuff we can't control. Because most people don't understand how markets work, certainly not in anything other than a very high level way, They seek to impose some human order on the seemingly unordered, volatile movements of stock markets. Pound cost averaging is really a method of imposing some kind of predictability and regularity on something which is inherently unpredictable and irregular. Ultimately, markets will do what they want, but at least you can try and control the impact of that by applying the smoothing effect of pound cost averaging. And that will make you feel better, and that's an important point. It's about feelings primarily, how we feel in relation to our money. In his email to me, I had to laugh because Matt ended it by bemoaning the fact that he wasn't quite so mathematical in other areas of life as he is with his investing. And he ended it with the line that just said, "Emotions can be such a drag." That made me smile because I actually couldn't have put that better myself. Emotions can be a drag, particularly on investment performance. I'm going to be exploring behavioral finance and the impact of behavior much more in the upcoming season 14 of the podcast. Just a couple more weeks to wait for that. But if you can't wait, listen back to season 3, where I dealt with the subject in some depth, a little while ago now, but still perfectly current. So should you bother with pound cost averaging or not? My answer generally is that you need to do what is comfortable and manageable for you. Sure, you can teach yourself, learn and understand about the financial implications so that you can override some of the more illogical, irrational human decisions. But that's a process, and you really can't expect to be sort of human behavior master overnight. I would far rather you sleep at night than be mathematically correct. I have no interest in being smug one day when you've made a lot more money than you might otherwise have done, but you're a gibbering wreck in the corner. As with all financial decisions, and listen up here, this is important, you need to understand the implications of what you are deciding to do and live with the consequences of your decision. That is the very definition of being a financial adult. We can't blame anybody else. We just have to make a decision, execute it, and live with the consequences. What do you reckon? Do you agree? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.